Giancarlo Fisichella for Benetton and Jean Alesi in the Sauber made up an unlikely-looking front row here at the A1 ring. Hello, welcome to our review of this afternoon's Austrian Grand Prix. Mika Häkkinen came here leading the World Championship, but just by 2 points now. Michael Schumacher and the Ferrari team really have been turning up the heat on the McLarens. Torrential rain yesterday saw the drivers slipping and sliding through qualifying, but gave us the potential for one of the most exciting races of the season. For qualifying, the A1 ring resembled a skid pan. It came down to a mad dash at the end of the session when the track was dry. The rainmaster Michael Schumacher looked well set after posting the fastest time. And history was in the making when brother Ralph brought his Jordan into a provisional second. But the Schumachers were dramatically eclipsed from the front row. Enter Jean Alesi. The Frenchman in the Sauber was second fastest. Then he found even more to take provisional pole.
13 seconds to go, and there is the pole position man, Jean Alesi. Amazing!
The times, though, around 20 seconds slower than last year. The track was getting ever faster, but the clock was running. Just time for Fisichella to claim pole position.
Giancarlo Fisichella goes ahead of Jean Alesi by an incredible 7/10 of a second.
Joy in the Benetton camp, a stark contrast to the frustration of McLaren's. David Coulthard again struggling, back in 14th position on this unusual looking grid. It's Fisichella's first pole ever, Benetton's first of 98. Fast starting Alesi next to him in the Sauber, then the championship contenders Häkkinen and Schumacher. Barrichello not winning the lottery, but fifth super for the Stewarts. The Arrows delighted to have Salo in the top 6. It's Frentzen and Irvine on row 4. Ralf Schumacher 9th, then Panis. Villeneuve penalised by his spin next to Verstappen. Deniz and David Coulthard in 14th, worst of the year by a long way. Damon Hill's early gamble failing, truly was a long-time leader last year. Wirtz way back on home ground, Johnny Herbert 18th, and only the Minardis and Tyrrells are behind him. So enjoy the best of the Austrian Grand Prix now with Martin Brundle and Murray Walker.
So watch those lights, that they will start, of course, when the race will start, when they all go out. Action in Austria. Fisichella leads. A beautiful start, and Häkkinen right up alongside him. Everybody getting away cleanly. I think someone left at the back. But look at this battle, and into the lead goes the Häkkinen McLaren by passing Fisichella, and there's a coming together. 1, 2, 3 cars off. One of them is one of the Saubers. It's Takagi there in the Tyrrell. And coming up to turn 2, it's Häkkinen.
Häkkinen leads. Alesi has made a bad start. There's Schumacher, I think.
Yeah,
it was Russell. And there's another accident.
Yeah, and it's
Villeneuve, Deniz, and that must be Coulthard.
And David Coulthard, yeah, and look at it, out of the race goes Mika Salo. I think he's got a puncture on the right rear. But meantime, Häkkinen and Schumacher have got past Fisichella, who has now got Rubens Barrichello in 4th place behind him, and the battle is joined right from the start between the World Championship contenders, and Michael Schumacher is right up the gearbox of Mika Häkkinen, pursued by Fisichella 3rd. Off goes Takagi's car.
Safety car is on the track. They have cleared Panis off the grid, but obviously all of the incidents around the racetrack, they've decided to put the safety car out. David Coulthard making a pit stop for a new nose. So hopefully he'll be able to get out before the safety car gets underway, almost certainly actually. And whether he's got any suspension damage, we don't know. He appeared to be coming back in very slowly. I'm watching them there. You're on picture now. They've changed the nose. Now they're changing the tyres. It's just a question of if he's got any suspension damage. Otherwise, he can restart at the back of the field. And he was a pretty long way down there anyway. He's gone. Coulthard rejoins the racetrack.
And once again, bad luck hits David Coulthard. Now, here we go. Look, there's the restart. Fisichella gets away. Look at Hakkinen coming through, passing a Lacey, getting inside Fisichella as Barrichello comes alongside Schumacher. Eddie Irvine in the background there. Up into turn one. Look at Schumacher going through. Up into third place. Hakkinen is in the lead. Fisichella is second. Schumacher is in third place. Barrichello going past a Lacey. A Lacey dropped right down to fifth position. Off go the two cars at the bottom. And here's another replay.
Yes. And you see they did very well to get around Panis, actually. And then there was a Tyrrell at the back of the field, probably Rosset, who went too deep into the corner and caused that accident at the back of the field. So Hakkinen now, look, already positioned his car well, takes the lead, and then there's a Stewart making a good run up the inside. Now watch the Tyrrell. He's lost it under braking and runs into the side of one Minardi and ends up stopping both Minardis. And that must be Johnny Herbert also.
Well, here it is again, coming towards us. And now watch Mika Hakkinen. There he goes, straight between Fisichella and a Lacey. Watch Schumacher on the left. He jinks past a Lacey as Barrichello in the white Stewart comes up on the right. Hakkinen leads Fisichella. Already Schumacher is third, but he had dropped down to fifth place, so he made a great recovery. That is Rosset.
Yeah, it's Takagi who went off then. It's Takagi who were too brave up the inside and lost it. There he goes. And loses it under braking.
As you watch Takagi and the Minardi of Shinji Nakano.
This is turn two, look, and this is David Coulthard ends up getting caught out here. Somebody's hit him at the back, and well, we didn't see quite what happened, but obviously a bit of a shunt at the back. There we go. And that's the lead battle. That's the lead battle. Let's wait and see what happened to Coulthard. I think Salo was involved. Oh, there we go. The two arrows getting into each other and then knocking Coulthard round on the outside of the corner. He looks, oh, that's what happened to Coulthard's front wing. And I'd be amazed if that hasn't damaged David Coulthard's front suspension. There's Coulthard getting underway. Now let's see. Yes, look, Salo tries to recover and whacks the front of Coulthard's car. I'd be amazed if that hasn't broken the suspension.
And the race is going to restart, and the race restarts now. In goes the safety car. Hakkinen leads up into turn one. Schumacher right behind him. Fisichella, Barrichello, and then Jorna Lacey. Eddie Irvine is sixth. Frentzen is seventh. Ralph Schumacher's got Damon Hill right behind him. And everybody's got away safely. This time it's Schumacher challenging Mika Hakkinen. He's going to give him a hard time right from the beginning. And he's got, that's where he got a penalty last year under a yellow flag. He's all right this year. And he's really harrying Mika Hakkinen. Is the Finn going to be able to resist the pressure? And the answer, I think, is going to be no. Schumacher's going to lead. He's right in front now. Hakkinen fights back. And through goes Fisichella and Barrichello. That was a bad move by Schumacher, but you can't blame him for trying.
Yes, Barrichello's not going to make that stick, but Schumacher went very deep into the corner. If you look at the angle of his rear wing, he's obviously elected to run low downforce, and that's why he's so fast in a straight line, to give him a lot of overtaking capacity down the two straights. So, but it didn't quite pay off. When he got there, he hadn't got enough grip, hadn't got enough downforce, and ran wide. But he'll come back.
Look, he's been he was testing downforce in both cars in the warm-up this morning.
And that's the Benetton of Wirtz off, running wide in the Gosser curve. Wirtz losing 4 or 5 places. He should be able to recover from there. Shouldn't be any long-lasting damage. Here comes Schumacher again. Look at the straight line speed he's got, but Fisichella covered it well. Now Fisichella's going to run wide. Schumacher coming up the inside, makes it stick. Schumacher's gone for straight line speed, and it looks as if it's going to pay off.
Nice one, Michael, up into second position in the Ferrari. Now, can he catch? Can he get past Mika Hakkinen? Down to third goes Fisichella. Still a magnificent fourth. It's Rubens Barrichello ahead of Jorna Lacey, who started second on the grid. Eddie Irvine in the second Ferrari is in sixth position. Mika Salo is out of the race after that coming together, and they're working together on Pedro Deniz's car as well. Something to do with the steering, I think. Over the line goes Mika Hakkinen. This is lap 6 out of 71, getting on to 1/10 distance already.
There's Salo. Remember, 6th place on the grid. A great drive in the wet qualifying. Out of the race already. Michael Schumacher really on an incredible charge. 0.6 of a second faster than Häkkinen on the last lap. And look at him in the slipstream already. And Mika covering the line. Michael's going to try the outside again. I don't think you'll get away with it this time. But he's tucking back in.
And he's going to try and come through on the inside. Remember, he's got this low downforce. If he can stay with Häkkinen until they come out of turn 8 at the start of the finish straight, he will be in a good position to sprint past for turn 1 at the start of the 8th lap. They're coming through on lap 7 now. And Schumacher pushing. The red Ferrari big in the mirrors of the McLaren. Now this is the Jochen Rindt curve. Then there is the A1 curve. Now this is where Schumacher can attack if he's close enough. He's not close enough at the present moment though. And Rubens Barrichello retires from the Austrian Grand Prix after a terrific start from 5th position after running in 4th place. Very, very disheartening for the team. David Coulthard has come up from 14th on the grid. Remember, he's been in and changed the nose of the car after he was hit by the arrows of Mika Salo. He did that during the safety car period, and now he's come up from 14th on the grid to 9th on the race, and he's tackling Hill.
Yes, he's about 1.5 seconds a lap faster than Damon. I hope that suspension doesn't let go later in the race under the load, and a nice one up the inside. Coulthard taking 8th place away from Damon Hill. He's really on a charge. And actually put his hand out the side of the cockpit to say, thank you, Damon, you know I had the line, and you didn't get silly about it.
This is great motor racing. Mika Häkkinen, the fastest man on the track. He just got round in 1 minute 13.8. And Michael Schumacher doesn't seem to be able to do anything about it. The Finn is resisting this terrific pressure magnificently. And look, there is Fisichella in the background in the Benetton. Started from pole position, he's dropping back though. Look at the gap, 4.3 seconds between him and this titanic battle for the lead between the two top men. Well, the Benetton mechanics sitting there watching their man. This is what they want to be watching though. Häkkinen leads in the McLaren. Michael Schumacher in the Ferrari, straining every might and main. Remember, he's got a lot less downforce on the Ferrari to try to get up the back. And he's off! He's off! Schumacher off! Incredible! And look at the bits flying off the car everywhere. This has destroyed his race. There goes Fisichella through to 2nd position. And amazingly, Michael Schumacher gets back on the track. Now there is Eddie Irvine behind him. He's going to come through, is he, and take the... Good heavens, that's Frentzen. Bang goes the engine. A fantastic development here in Austria. Mika Häkkinen will be out on his own now. And Heinz-Harald Frentzen has lost 6th position to David Coulthard as Eddie Irvine comes up to pass his teammate Michael Schumacher. And in the process, Eddie Irvine moves up into 3rd position.
Michael Schumacher had gone too hard into the Rindt curve, lost the back slightly, and took a huge bounce across the gravel trap and destroyed the front wing, as you can see. And here we go now, look. This is the Rindt curve. He's run wide on the way in, look, got on the marbles, and now he's no way getting that car back on the road. Look at that. There goes the front wing. Look at his head shaking around, and a lot of impact there, considering he hasn't actually hit anything. And Schumacher bringing it back onto the road. There's a full 19-20 seconds that he'll lose to change the nose. Plus, it's about 21 seconds to negotiate the pit lane. Plus, he's going to lose 7 or 8 seconds on a slow in-lap. And there is Frentzen's Mechachrome engine letting go in the biggest possible way. There's another coffee table for somebody.
So major developments now. We're on lap 19 out of 71. Fisichella has got to take up the cudgels because there is Irvine going through. And any moment now, the Ferrari mechanics will be changing that nose on Michael Schumacher's Ferrari. Into the pit lane he comes. Up to the Ferrari pits he comes. Now, it should take about 20 seconds to change it. They'll change the tyres and wheels at the same time, of course. James Allen, you're there.
Yes, Ross Brawn, technical director, crawling over the right front. He wants to look at the suspension uprights. He's pointing to something. I think he's happy. Thumbs up from Ross Brawn. The new nose goes on. Isn't it incredible how quickly they can do that? The old one is very badly damaged. Ross giving Michael some instructions now. Keep calm is the instruction. The Ferrari team are calm, and away he goes again. What can he do from here?
Well, he's lost 19 seconds. I said 20 seconds. They drill to do this sort of thing, change the nose and wing. And Michael Schumacher will exit the pit lane in roundabout 9th position. It was a wonderful stop under the circumstances.
No, he'll be further behind than that, Murray. He had a very slow in-lap, and plus the time it takes to negotiate the pit lane as well. So Michael will be effectively at the back of the field, but at least he's still running. But you've witnessed something you don't see too often. Michael Schumacher making a driving error.
Mika Häkkinen then looks at the present moment as though he's in a very, very strong, not to say commanding position for yet another win in 1998. He's already won in Australia, when he got the place back from David Coulthard when Coulthard moved over. And then in Brazil, he had that run in Spain and Monaco. 4 wins then for Mika Häkkinen this year, the same as Michael Schumacher.
Fisichella in the pit lane, second place man Fisichella, so clearly he's on a 2-stop strategy, 120 Ks now, and that still looks incredibly fast. I watched them in the warm-up this morning, and I wouldn't want to be a mechanic standing there with an air gun. The car's screaming towards you, 67, 70 miles an hour, whatever it is, and it does look fast. A reasonable stop there for Fisichella. Just to wait, in fact, no, for some reason, clearly they must have had a while getting on the fuel hose off, because a 10.7 seconds is not a good stop.
No, and Eddie Irvine has gone up into 3rd position, and David Coulthard, Eddie Irvine's gone up into 2nd position, David Coulthard has gone up into 3rd position.
Now here's a drag race down to the 2nd corner. Fisichella needs to win that one. He really doesn't need the Sauber in front of him, because he'll have to repass it, and he's going to go inside. They're going to turn.
Oh, that's Alesi and Fisichella. Again, Alesi has had a contact with someone,
and he stalled it.
And he stalled
Alesi
the car.
has stalled the engine.
Yeah, Alesi has stalled the Petronas Ferrari engine, and Fisichella is out of the race. There's going to be another mammoth confrontation. Remember Fisichella and Irvine when they had a big coming together? Well, fortunately for Alesi, he's on the other side of the track.
Well, it was Alesi that flew through the air there last year when he made contact in a very similar way.
Alesi on the right, Fisichella on the left.
Well, it's such a tight turn. Alesi really is in front, I have to say. I would feel I was able to turn in from that point, and really, Fisichella should have given that one up. That was silly on his part. Alesi was a full car ahead of him, look, and perfectly entitled to turn in, and he will rightly feel angry about that, but then he should feel angry about himself. He kept it going in the spin. Here we go again. This is up the inside, look. Fisichella knows the guy's got to turn in, so just jump on the brake pedal. He's going to come in on you, and look, your front suspension's broken, and put that one down to experience, young man.
Häkkinen leads McLaren, Irvine 2nd Ferrari, Coulthard 3rd.
Well, I think the pits are going to save Coulthard the job of having to negotiate his way round Irvine, if indeed he can, because the Ferrari mechanics are out in the pit lane, and I would have thought that's for Eddie Irvine. So Irvine, I think, will be pitting shortly, and Häkkinen goes over the line. We're waiting for Irvine. Does he take to the pit lane, or does he carry on? See how far ahead Häkkinen is, already through turn 1.
Yeah, I don't know what sort of a strategy Mika Häkkinen is on.
Irvine in the pits. Irvine in the pit lane.
Irvine in the pit lane then, and it looks as though Mika Häkkinen is on a 1-stop strategy as Eddie Irvine comes in at the end of a period which indicates that he's on a 2-stop strategy. Well, it's quicker to go on a 2-stop strategy on sheer timing, provided you get the traffic right. But since so many cars have dropped out of the race now, you see Eddie Irvine looks as though he's going to be rejoining on a completely clear track. Here's a replay. It's Villeneuve on the right, running off.
Villeneuve just behind Trulli, and if he keeps it steady and gets it back on the grass quickly, he won't lose the nose. Just got away with that one, didn't he?
Yeah, and luckily it looks as though he didn't shift all that many stones. He will have got quite a lot. Oh, he did. I'm sorry, I missed that. He will have got a lot of muck in the side pods and may have damaged the radiators. I think not. But anyway, Michael Schumacher now, as a result of everything that's happened, is up to 9th place behind Damon Hill. And there is Michael Schumacher. Just as David Coulthard has done a magnificent fighting recovery, Michael Schumacher's doing exactly the same thing. He's about to pass Damon Hill in a Jordan, where last year he passed Damon Hill in an Arrows to get that last World Championship point. So Damon Hill in the yellow car is 8th. Behind him, Michael Schumacher. Johnny Herbert in 7th place is just ahead of Damon Hill. So Michael Schumacher is going to be back in the points very soon, because Villeneuve, there goes Michael Schumacher. Damon Hill moves over and lets him through, as he let David Coulthard through earlier on. Now here is Jarno Trulli and Villeneuve fighting for 5th position. So we've got 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th virtually together. Replay of Michael Schumacher taking Damon Hill.
Yes, rather easy, wasn't it? A little bit like last year. Rather too easy, that, for my liking. Meanwhile, Coulthard, as you can see, sets a new fastest lap, and the gap is now just 20 seconds to race leader Mika Häkkinen.
And off goes Esteban Tuero when he was 14th, so we're now down to 13 out of 22. And Mika Häkkinen dives off the track into the very, very long pit lane. It runs right the way round turn 8. And I'm going to watch for David Coulthard going through amazingly to take the lead, having started 14th. I can't remember anything like this since Michael Schumacher started 15th in Belgium and went through to win the race, but those were in wet conditions. And
just remember,
out goes Mika Häkkinen, and there is David Coulthard climbing up towards turn 1 in the lead in Austria.
Yes, he actually was last at one point. Remember when he came in for the nose change, when he rejoined behind the safety car, he was actually last. But leading the race now, Häkkinen emerging from what is a very slow pit exit. Very easy to crash there, but clearly Coulthard hasn't yet stopped, so that'll reverse itself in the next 2 or 3 laps. Schumacher's passed Villeneuve. We haven't seen it on screen, but Michael Schumacher's passed that little clan and scampered away into the distance. You can see him just down there going through the Berger curve, and Villeneuve staying ahead of the pack, but Schumacher up to 6th place.
Now here are Verstappen in the Stewart and Wurz in the Benetton. It's a replay. I don't know why. Did something happen? Yes, indeed it did. Alexander Wurz got a better exit from the corner and took the place from Jos Verstappen, and he's up to 11th. Schumacher goes through and takes Trulli.
Schumacher up to 5th.
Trulli up into 5th position. He's past Jarno Trulli, he's past Jacques Villeneuve, he's past Johnny Herbert, he's past Damon Hill. It's a fabulous recovery drive.
Coulthard's pit stop coming up. Coulthard's currently got a just over 31-second lead over Irvine, 3rd place man, so he should get in and out and maintain the McLaren 1-2, providing there's no refueling dramas and he doesn't stall the engine.
Well, Mika Häkkinen has just gone through now to take the lead, and David Coulthard gets out of the pits. They haven't been flustered at all. You can look back and see a clear track.
That's a good stop for a one-stopper. 10.6 seconds, obviously, as they're one-stopping. They put a lot more fuel on board, so they're stationary for a longer period. Coulthard back on track in a clear 2nd position.
Well, it's been a pretty eventful first half. We're into the 2nd half of the Austrian Grand Prix now, lap 37 out of 71, with Mika Häkkinen there, back in the lead, having had his pit stop. David Coulthard has now stopped twice, once for the nose cone and tyres, again for another set of tyres. But it's Mika Häkkinen with the race seemingly in his pocket, although I've said that before and something has happened. But Häkkinen and Schumacher's gap in the World Championship was 2 points when this race started. Schumacher is fighting back. Michael Schumacher, he is 11 seconds behind his brother, Ralph. Ralph is in 4th place. Michael is in 5th place, ahead of Jacques Villeneuve in the points.
Heidi will be pleased with her man, but presumably we were going to see some formation flying now from the McLaren team, because there's no point in them racing each other. They've just got to keep a watch on Irvine back there in 3rd place and Michael Schumacher's charge, who's currently in 5th place.
And Eddie Irvine, there he is in 3rd place, has got Michael 10 seconds behind him. Michael is only lapping about 0.3 of a second behind Eddie Irvine, so the Irishman may well beat the German in this race the way they are going at the present moment. Johnny Herbert is coming to the pits there from 9th position.
He almost stalled. Johnny almost stalled, just caught it, relit the engine and carried on. Häkkinen in, you'll see Herbert emerging from the pit lane. No, Johnny's come out behind them. So Häkkinen's not going to worry about that traffic either. When it falls into place, it really falls into place.
Well, as you watch the Benetton and Johnny Herbert Sauber, of course, Lacey is out of the race, of course. Here are the retirements in the order that they retired. Takagi went out first in the Tyrrell, followed by Olivier Panis, then the two arrows of Mika Salo and Pedro Diniz, who collided at the first corner and hit David Coulthard, who managed to continue after coming on in to take on a new nose. Barrichello out in the Stewart, great pity because he was running fourth at the time. Heinz Harald Frentzen, whose star is really waning at Williams, is out of the race. Shauna Lacey, of course, collided with Fisichella. They're both out of the race. General agreement is that it was Fisichella's fault rather than the Lacey's. Esteban Tuero is out. There are 13 out of the 22 who started, and 3 of them have been lapped. Alexander Wurz has been lapped in the Benetton. Verstappen has been lapped in the Stewart. Rosset has been lapped in the Tyrrell. And now Johnny Herbert as well. So there are 9 drivers on the same lap, on lap 40, as we ride with Mika Häkkinen coming up to turn 2. And into the pits comes Michael Schumacher. James.
It's a very early second stop, Murray. The theory here being put the fuel in to take him through to the end and then just let him drive, go like gangbusters. But if Ferrari were hoping that McLaren maybe had a tyre wear problem, I'm afraid I've got some very bad news for them, because I've just been looking at Häkkinen's tyres. And despite the pressure that Schumacher put on him at the start, they look really pretty good for tyres that have done half a race. So no luck for them, Ferrari for them.
Well, there's Damon Hill going through, and he's made up a place. You see, Damon Hill's got back ahead of Schumacher. So the Ralf Schumacher stays 4th. Up to 5th position goes Villeneuve. Up to 6th position goes Damon Hill. Down to 7th place goes Michael Schumacher. But as you just heard from James, he's going to run through to the end.
Well, Jordan are ready for somebody. I would imagine it's Ralf. They should be responding to Ferrari's pit call for brother Michael. So, yes, apparently it is for Ralf Schumacher. The Jordan boys are ready. And, of course, Damon Hill, while he is ahead of Michael at this point, he has also got to stop again.
Yeah, and he's going to be taken by Michael Schumacher fairly soon, I would think. Damon's lapping in about the same lap speed, but that was when Michael Schumacher was coming into the pits. And there is Ralf Schumacher in the Jordan from 4th position. There's a sporting chance, if they keep going, that both Jordans will be in the points as Villeneuve comes in there. Now, Villeneuve was in 5th place when he came in, so Michael Schumacher is up. I think he could be in 4th position, but if he's not, he's in 5th place. We'll have to wait till things settle down a bit. But on lap 44 now, there is Schumacher coming through, taking turn 1, climbing ahead as Villeneuve exits the pit lane. There are the 2 Jordans of Schumacher and Damon Hill, and Michael Schumacher. And still leading, of course, is Mika Häkkinen. David Coulthard is 16 seconds behind him. Eddie Irvine has been into the pits. Häkkinen has stopped once, Coulthard has stopped twice, including his nose job, and Eddie Irvine has been in just the once, as Michael Schumacher closes up and reels in the 2 Jordans ahead of him.
Yes, that was a net gain there for Michael over his brother Ralf. Clearly his in-lap and his pit stop worked out much better for him. And Ralf is really yet to complete his out-lap, and Michael is up and running, tyres up to pressure and temperature, and they're really going for it. So I would expect Michael Schumacher to relatively easily take the place away from brother Ralf to take 4th place.
Both the McLarens are still running, 1st and 2nd. Both the Ferraris are still running, with Eddie Irvine in 3rd place. Both the Jordans are still running, and they're both in the points at the present moment. Only one of the Williams, and that was it, because Frentzen is out. Here is Häkkinen ahead of Wurz, and Wurz, of course, has been lapped. The Jordan mechanics there, out on the pit lane, and in comes, let's see who it is. It's Damon Hill. Damon Hill in from 5th position, so Michael Schumacher will, of course, benefit. Out sprints Damon, 8.2 seconds, and look, there is Mika Häkkinen going through to lap Damon Hill. Jarno Trulli, who's in 10th position and has been lapped by Mika Häkkinen, and is about to be lapped now by David Coulthard and Eddie Irvine. And this could give Irvine his opportunity, of course, although David Coulthard will know exactly what the score is. because this is Coulthard's 68th Grand Prix. He's a very experienced campaigner. But Eddie Irvine will be trying his hardest now to narrow that gap between himself and Coulthard in the hope that something will happen before Coulthard gets past the post. It's not going to. In fact, Irvine's going to be the one who suffers.
Yes, Coulthard using every ounce of slipstream he could find there to nip past the frost and leave that between him and the pursuing Eddie Irvine. So Coulthard definitely picking up his pace again.
Lap 49, Häkkinen, Coulthard, Irvine is the order. You see the second and third as Trulli moves over and calmly and politely lets Irvine through. Nice one. Fourth is Ralf Schumacher. Michael Schumacher is now 1.8 seconds behind his brother. Sixth is Jacques Villeneuve in the points, but 72 seconds behind Mika Häkkinen. He's the next man who's going to be lapped. And Jacques Villeneuve has got used to that this season. The reigning world champion, and he's been lapped a lot of times this year.
I think you're on board with Irvine. Yes, you are, looking at the back of the McLaren of David Coulthard, which has certainly been in the wars today, but currently up in second place. So Eddie Irvine, we know he's coming off the back of 6 podiums in 7 races, is still currently in third place.
Wurz comes in from 7th position. He's going to lose that position to Damon Hill, who was right behind him. Damon Hill is pretty close to the points, but the gap between himself and Jacques Villeneuve, who's actually going quite well now, is 6.8 seconds now. There is Coulthard second, there is Irvine third. Behind them, Trulli, who of course has been lapped. Out of the pits comes Alexander Wurz in front of Trulli. So Häkkinen now is on his 50th lap. 21 laps of this 2.7 mile circuit.
A little bit of ominous smoke coming out of the back of David Coulthard's car there. I just hope it's a little bit of heavy breathing, but we'll be back shortly.
Lap 52 out of 71, and just as David Coulthard has driven a magnificent fighting recovery, so Michael Schumacher there in the red Ferrari is doing the same thing. He's come through after replacing the nose of the car to catch his brother Ralf, and he's in 4th position, Ralf.
And he's much later on the brakes into turn 2 on the earlier laps, but he decided, oh, Michael, you nearly ran into him. Got well out of shape under braking, and he was much quicker than Ralf last time round into there. Decided to have a go and had to abort halfway through, and very skillful, in fact, that he didn't run into the back of him. Here we go again. Look, he's going to have a look up the inside, and just look, the back end steps out of line, and I have to tell you, that's a brilliant piece of driving to recover that one. Irvine in for his second stop. That takes the pressure off of Coulthard, and therefore Häkkinen. So Irvine should maintain his 3rd position when he rejoins, but Michael Schumacher has got to get his brother out of the way before he can have a go at his teammate.
They may be brothers, and they may be very fond of each other out of the cars, but certainly Ralf is not going to do anything to let his brother get past easily.
Well, Michael signed himself up for a multi-year, multi-squillion deal, of course. Ralf is not yet placed for next season, and a good scrap with somebody like Michael Schumacher, albeit his brother. Here we are again. There's Michael having to really, it was to minimise anything then. Oh, there's the Verstappen's car, bit of flame coming out of the back, little bit of an oil fire, and that's down in turn 3. So clearly Verstappen is not going to get that running again from there. It's just rolling gently back down the hill. Look, I think the engine's gone on the straight. What happens is you get oil and water when the engine blows up. With that magnitude, you get oil and water often on your rear tyres, or you turn in with no drive at all, and there you'll see it swaps ends. There's nothing you can do about it, really. You really need to be able to drive the cars into the corner.
But look at this, Michael back again with Ralf going for 4th position. And they're climbing out of turn 1 here.
He should get him this time, although Ralf did get better drive off that corner, didn't he? We know Michael's got the low downforce setup from earlier in the race, but Ralph's got plenty of speed himself, hasn't he? Look, and he's covering the line nicely. Well done, Ralf. So take that, big bro. What a great scrap.
Yeah, and it's tremendously heartening for the Jordan team, of course, because this is the man who is generally acknowledged to be the finest Grand Prix driver in the world, in the best car. Now he's going to do it. Now he's going to do it. He's on the inside. Ralf Schumacher has to give way. Michael Schumacher just got the right position there. Dives past his brother. Now he's been held up a lot. There's 15 seconds between him and Eddie Irvine.
Look how much higher Michael sits in the seat. He likes to see the front of the car, and he certainly pointed it nicely into this corner, very deep on the brakes.
And James Allen is in the Ferrari garage. What's the news?
Well, I tell you, Murray, it's very interesting, of course, that Ferrari can't do anything too deliberate to get Irvine out of Schumacher's way. A lot of discussion between Ross Brawn, the technical director, and Jean Todt, the sporting director. But I think what's happening here is Irvine's gracefully losing about a second a lap to Michael Schumacher. Just to give you an idea of how important this is, if Schumacher finishes fourth, Hakkinen will have 66 points in the championship to Schumacher's 57 if Hakkinen wins the race. And if Schumacher's third, it'll be 58 points. Now remember, last year in Jerez, the championship showdown was decided by 1 point between Schumacher and Villeneuve, so every point counts.
So there is Irvine, who is third. There is Michael Schumacher, who is fourth. Now, it's less than 8 seconds. Something very dramatic is going on in the Ferrari lineup. And Michael Schumacher is flying round the circuit. He's just gone round 2.5 seconds faster than Eddie Irvine. Now, has the word gone out? I have to be very careful what I'm saying. But whatever, Michael Schumacher is building up for 4 World Championship points instead of 3 World Championship points. And James Allen has just explained how significant that is. But in order to do that, you've just seen Irvine go through. Over the crest of the hill comes Michael Schumacher, dropping down towards the Jochen Rindt curve.
Yes, Irvine's backed off. He's losing a second per sector, 3 sectors per lap, to Michael Schumacher at the moment. So Irvine will be either just taking it gently or claiming some kind of problem, because Schumacher's just taking leagues out of him.
I found I couldn't engage top gear, perhaps.
Spongy brake pedal is always a good one.
Mika Hakkinen leads on lap 64 and lap 71. Cynic. We're soon going to see both Ferraris in the same shot from a close distance. And more news from James Allen about Ferrari.
You're going to love this, guys. One of my colleagues has just asked Jean Todt for television what the problem is with Eddie Irvine. And guess what he said? The brakes!
Now, where is it going to happen?
I bet you £50 he passes him on the next lap, Murray. Into turn 1,
I'm
probably.
not taking that, Martin. I'm not stupid. Eddie Irvine holds his third place coming out of the last turn, and Mika Hakkinen now is coming through, climbing up towards turn 2, and sure enough, this is where it's going to happen. Eddie Irvine moves over, and Michael Schumacher does not dive through. I'm very surprised. Now,
Irvine running a little wide out turn 1, actually getting the wheels onto the dust, which would be not intentional at all, but clearly gives Michael an easy run up the inside into 2. And side by side, the 2 Ferraris. Michael smoking the brakes, gone in a little bit deep, but takes away that podium position. I want to say something else. I think the new Article 151 is ridiculous. Teams should be able to manoeuvre their cars. This is also team racing. It's happened since the 50s. There's nothing wrong in using both of your cars in a way to maximise your team's advantage, your championship opportunities, and they should scrap that idea altogether and let the teams run how they want to run.
Not long to go now, out of turn 6, down to turn 7, over the hill, turning right at 120 miles an hour. Mika Hakkinen is almost literally within sight of his 5th win of the year to extend his World Championship lead. And Hakkinen wins slowly in Austria. And we now wait for his teammate David Coulthard to come through. A magnificent second. There he is in the background. A great dominant victory for McLaren, Mercedes and Bridgestone, with Michael Schumacher in 3rd position when he finishes, because he is some 32 seconds behind Mika Hakkinen. So there you see the 2 McLarens in formation. Here is the man who is 2nd in the World Championship at the moment and will continue to be there. Michael Schumacher finishes 3rd for Ferrari. Nothing to be ashamed of. He tried as hard as he could. Eddie Irvine comes home in 4th position. There he is in the background. Ralf Schumacher will finish in 5th position ahead of Villeneuve 6th. Damon Hill will go the full race distance and finish in 7th position. Mika Hakkinen, David Coulthard. Great race, 2 great drivers, magnificent car.
So a familiar trio on the podium despite that strange-looking starting grid. Michael Schumacher collecting valuable points, but Mika Hakkinen, David Coulthard and McLaren are the big hitters.
I had some balance problem with the brakes. I was not able to get them right, and also I was not able to get the car balance right in first 10 laps. And I was taking it quite easy, and that I did not want to mistake, and I didn't want to destroy the tires. When I got the balance, I went flat out, and then you saw the cap started coming bigger and bigger for Michael, and then Michael went off. So, brilliant.
I come here to win races, not finish second, so clearly it's a good result for the team. I won 2, and I guess I should be happy because I come through the field, but that's not my motivation. It's to win Grand Prix, and that's what's going to make me happy. So, sure, I'm not going to turn my nose up at the second place, and as I say, it was very good for the team, but I would like to win a few more Grand Prix.
You seem a little bit overcome, Ron.
I am.
Well, was it
Great drive by David, and so pleased with the performance of the team, our strategy. We're able to control the race, and I think everyone in McLaren's very happy.
Not often you make a mistake. What happened exactly?
I just run wide on that corner and off the line, and once you're off the line, you have no chance to recover. I had a twitchy car all weekend, but I mean, so did Eddie, and he didn't go off, so it's purely due to me. You don't need to look for excuses. You need to look for reasons how to improve it. And that's what we're going to do. In the end of the day, we took 4 points, so that's acceptable.
So a spot of breathing space for Mika Häkkinen. It's an 8-point lead now. Coulthard still a massive 30 points off the leader. Eddie Irvine with 3 points, the only other scorer of the leading contenders here in Austria. In the Constructors' Championship, McLaren's lead is up from 3 to 12 points. Jacques Villeneuve, the world champion, picked up a point for Williams today. So Austria has done us proud once again. Great excitement, Tony Jardine, right from the start.
A critical race in the championship, but of course the championship protagonists were on the second row of the grid. Michael Schumacher and Mika Häkkinen behind rookie pole sitter Giancarlo Fisichella. And look at Fisichella there, getting enveloped by a fast-starting Häkkinen. He's already losing the lead. There you can just see from the aerial camera, and Häkkinen is through into the lead. And Michael Schumacher, after a hesitant start, gets through into third place and squeezes out Jean Alesi. Barrichello goes through as well. But look, Takagi at the back in the Tyrrell goes right across the curb on the apex on the inside, and he causes mayhem at the back. More mayhem just one corner later. Coulthard following Hill has started 14th and 15th. Diniz hits the back of his teammate Salo. Then he spears into David Coulthard and pushes him round as well. Now there's more to come. Watch this. Mika Salo, he puts the power on and squirts right across the nose and the front left of David Coulthard. Coulthard had to go back to the pits, get a news nose cone. Safety car comes out, starting dead last.
He was last, David Coulthard, certainly my man of this Grand Prix. He raced up through the field, took Damon Hill with no problem at all, and finished up on the podium.
This was just lap 14, an absolutely great move, very, very clean. Damon Hill, has to be said, gave him the room. He moved over. He knew David Coulthard was flying. He took 8th place here, so he'd come from the back up to 8th in just 14 laps, and he said thank you very much, Damon, gave him a little wave as well.
You know, Tony, when people look back at this Grand Prix, they'll say, I remember that one. It was that terrific scrap between Häkkinen and Michael Schumacher.
It was great. The intimidator at work, look at him trying every which way, but Häkkinen won't have it. He just stays absolutely firmly on his line. He knows that Schumacher has to go around the outside, but Schumacher, the last of the late great breakers, there he is. He didn't make it. He braked too deep on that one, but later on, he'd fallen back a bit and he charged again, and this is what happened because he was running this Ferrari right on the knife edge. Now just look at the punishment the car took, look at the punishment the driver took. Michael Schumacher is so fit, he got away with that, got back to the pits and got a new nose cone and started charging again. I can't believe that.
It's a shock to see that happen to Michael Schumacher. What's your opinion of what happened at the end between him and Irvine?
Well, I think Irvine has a contract which says, look, you're the number 2 driver, you better have some sort of brake problems. They can't tell us that, but of course it is. It's team tactics. Schumacher is the one who's got the chance of the World Championship. He has to take those extra points, so there's no way Irv had to let him through. He can tell us all the excuses he wants, but that's what had to happen. He had to let Schumacher through in 3rd place.
OK, and of course that meant to Eddie Irvine not on the podium for a change, replaced by Michael Schumacher. Let's hear what Eddie had to say when he spoke to Louise Goodman.
Accused me of being sceptical, but who actually decided it was going to be a brake problem today?
No, I'd say actually we were. If you've seen, there was a lot of brake dust, that sort of thing.
So you're pleased with the team result?
Well, no, because, you know, McLaren 1-2 is the worst thing that could have happened, really. You know, at least we got a 3-4, so they didn't pull away a huge amount, you know.
I think we could be very satisfied. We were very quick. I mean, tried to keep Michael behind me, which wasn't possible at the end. Then I lost my tyre, grained up, so I had to slow down towards the end of the race. But anyway, I'm quite happy.
You're definitely moving forward, aren't you, as a team?
Yeah, because we gave Jack a good run for his money, you know. And I think that you have to say the car is good, and we're closing the gap on teams like Williams, and it's all down to the hard work of the team. It's very good.
Well, I'm pleased because at one point in the race we were way back, but I'm pleased because the car was actually very good in the race and I could do some quick laps. But then on the start, I saw Panis raise his arm, and in general they stopped the start when that happened. So I looked at him and I just was going to abort the start, and when I looked forward, everybody was going and the start had been given, so I lost a lot of time there.
At the end, I saw him close the door, and for me there wasn't no way, and I touched him.
Sean, was it his fault, your fault, or nobody's fault?
I mean, it's racing. It's just a shame because I like very much Giancarlo. He's a very fair guy. I mean, the accident, he was looking for the position. I was looking for the position. Just let's say he will be for him an experience anyway.
Right, let's have a word about a couple of those drivers, Giancarlo Fisichella and Jean Lacey. Who was to blame in their particular little fracas?
Unfortunately, it was Giancarlo Fisichella, but they're the front row men. They're eventually coming together here. Jean Lacey, the most experienced man in Grand Prix racing, he takes his line quite legitimately. And Giancarlo Fisichella, with his lack of experience, unfortunately, being too ambitious. You can see from the cockpit here of the young Roman, he goes down there, that's right rear against front left, that's the front suspension broken. That's a great shame, but unfortunately it was Giancarlo's fault.
And the Lacey story, so he was out of the race. We've got a couple of contrasting examples about what drivers did when Michael Schumacher was in their mirrors. First, Damon Hill. I mean, is he being too gentlemanly here?
No, I don't think he is. I mean, he realises that Michael Schumacher's coming from the back after his incident. He's had his new nose cone. He's charging. You're not going to fight him in this position. It's very clean. But that's a contrast with Ralphie, you see. Damon has had a lot of criticism in the GPDA meeting very recently about weaving around. But Ralph, I mean, that's seeing my brother there. Oh, whoa. I mean, that's stay back. I mean, that's going to be a big argument around the kitchen table that way.
So just sum up for us, Tony, how decisive is this in the World Championship? What have we learned after today's race?
Well, the first thing is that the World Championship is still critically poised, but that Mika Hakkinen has soaked up tremendous pressure today to hold firm, hold his station. That'll give him a lot of confidence. He'll be rock solid at Hockenheim in a week's time.
Off we go to Schumacher territory.
Yes, but even so, it's Mercedes territory, you see, and it's a very, very fast track, and the McLaren loves fast tracks. Mercedes can get all its power going. The McLaren will really stretch its legs there. Ferrari will be there.
Cheers, Tony. Thanks a lot. Right, here's the complete rundown of what happened at the Austrian Grand Prix. Hakkinen, faultless. A wonderful drive from Coulthard, fastest lap as well. Michael Schumacher on the podium. Irvine pushed down to fourth. Ralf Schumacher scoring again for Jordan. Villeneuve making his point for Williams. Seventh is Damon Hill's best so far, both Jordan's home. Johnny Herbert right behind him in the Sauber. Wirtz ninth in his first home Grand Prix, then Trulli in the Prost. Nakano in the Minardi. Rosset, the last finisher for Tyrrell, a couple of laps behind. Verstappen's engine blew, Tuero spun off. Started, he had clutch trouble. Right, next weekend we go straight to Germany, to Hockenheim for the German Grand Prix. The full ITV service throughout the weekend. Qualifying live 11:40 on the Saturday. Murray and Martin's F1 special, always worth watching. 5 o'clock the time, Saturday afternoon. And the race itself, 12:20 on the Sunday afternoon. And highlights at 10:45. OK then, Germany looming when McLaren will be expected by their Mercedes backers to produce another quality performance, and Michael Schumacher's Ferrari army will be roaring their man on. See you next weekend. Good night.
Good Hamilton.